Hello, Tiger fans. This is Justin Hawkins on the next episode of Tigers Roundtable presented by Midgley's Public House. I'm located here at the beautiful Lincoln Center in Stockton, California. On today's episode, we have head coach Damon STOUDAMIRE and associate head coach Leonard Perry joining me. We're going to be discussing everything about Pacific men's basketball, giving you insight and detail about what's going on within our program from the all season and going into official practice. So hopefully you guys, enjoy what we're going to be talking about. And of course, we're going to have our special guest, celebrity chef Michael Midgley. So Tiger fans, I want you to enjoy this episode and thank you. So Coach STOUDAMIRE, Coach Perry, how's your off season been?
It's been an off season of reflection. It's been an off season of a lot of fun. I think that you think about the good and the bad of the season that just passed first of all, and our season was it was like two different seasons for us.
Right.
We in non-conference, we were trying to find ourselves. We had some moments where we could have banded together and maybe won some games that we didn't. And then we moved forward to conference play, and then it's, after those first two games, it was like a different team.
Right.
And we started to find our way. I think guys started to figure it out. I think they believed. We won some close games. And that was the team that we thought we could be. Really decimated by injuries. The injury bug really killed us this year. It really did. And by the end of the year, we're playing with seven players, only 6 scholarship, 1 walk-on.
Right.
And as you reflect on it, you think about what we did under the sanctions that we were on. I think we did a heck of a job.
Right,
I mean,
right.
It's something that we don't like to talk about as a staff, because I took the job, I hired guys, and I told everybody on the front end, but the reality of it is that over the course of 3 years, and this is the 3rd year, we're going to lose 6 scholarships over the 3 years. We're going to lose 40 recruiting days.
Right.
There's 10 weeks of inactivity where we can't contact, text, email, or whatever it is, go on anybody's campus,
right,
and see PSAs, prospective student athletes.
Right.
And as crazy as it sounded, one of the things that hurt us the most was the fact that we only got 5 official visits compared to 12.
Right.
And to give people an understanding of how that is, it's like you might like somebody, and in a perfect world, you bring them on campus. Maybe you get them, maybe you don't. We can't afford that.
Right.
And I liken it to the Temptations. If you've seen the Temptations movie, I'm a movie guy. Everybody knows I'm a movie guy.
Right.
If you liken it to the Temptations, what Barry Gordy used to do is he used to put it to his executives.
Right.
Would you spend your last $20 on this record? And and it was by a show of hands, and by a show of hands, it was yay or nay.
Right.
And if not enough people voted for that record, they had to go do it over again.
Right.
So when we bring guys on official visits, it's like we're almost saying, now you got to come now if you come on this visit.
Right, right.
Because we can't afford to be bringing you out here on no trip and you're not in decision-making mode for Pacific.
Right.
And it's like those things that I don't think people really understand.
No.
And to go through that, then go through the injury bug that we went through. It was a season that I'm proud of.
Right.
But I'm not content with. It's over. It's in the past, because I felt like we gave away our last 4 games.
Agreed.
And regardless of having 6 or 7 players, that's just what it is, because I want us to be greedy. There's no way in the world to me that we should have lost those last 4 games, but that's just how I feel. The kids did the best they could under the circumstances, and the circumstances were extreme. So I'm proud of them nonetheless.
No, I definitely understand what you mean. Just being on staff and seeing, how you operated, in the past 2 years going to year 3, I definitely understand. Like you said, there are, people outside the program that really don't get everything that we've been through as a staff. And, to your credit, I applaud you, Coach Perry. I applaud you as well. And, to you, Coach Perry, like you've seen, like you've been in this game a long time. Have you seen anything like this?
Is that a nice way of you calling me old? That's what it feels like you're an old guy.
I say experience.
I'm kidding. You know, to touch on Coach's statements earlier, like, first of all, there is no off season,
right?
And there hasn't been for some years now. But there is no off season, and what we inherited, I'm going to explain to you kind of how the conversation went as it pertains to me getting here.
Mm-hmm.
I love the guy so much that I would have followed him anywhere. It wouldn't have mattered where he was going. I was going. So Coach says, hey, you know, I got this opportunity. You said you come. I said, Coach, I'm there. I'm there, no problem. He said, it's got a few hitches to it. You know, just a couple of scholarship reductions, but we could get over it.
Right.
I'm like, Coach, whatever you need, I'm there, man. So I get here, and Coach lays the first half. Now, Coach, we don't have a full complement of scholarships, so I'm thinking, okay, we can get by that. He says, well, we're only going to have like 10 for the first 3 years, and I go, okay, all right. And then he goes, oh yeah, Coach, we're gonna have some restrictions on recruiting as well. Not gonna have a full complement of recruiting days. I go, okay, all right. And then he goes, not until year 3 will we be whole, you know, and get everything that we need.
Right.
And after getting here and seeing what the situation was, like, I was taken aback a little bit. Like, this is a lot of work. This is a major undertaking.
Right.
And like Coach said, we hit the ground running. And every kid that we brought on campus, it had to be a home run. Like, we could not afford to miss on a guy. These were big visits, every visit. You know, so for 2 years, we're sitting there with the parents and the kid, and, you know, at the end of the visit, you know, some of the kids are going, okay, I'm coming to Pacific. Like, we're celebrating like we won the world championship. It was that big a deal. And we attacked both seasons with no excuses. We left no stone unturned in terms of preparation. Coach did a great job in leading our program and not allowing us to worry about all the things we didn't have. We were concentrated on the things we did have and the things we could sell here at Pacific. Right. And Coach has done an unbelievable job. It's just been incredible and been so much fun to watch him grow as a head coach and to be there so he can bounce things off of me that he's never experienced before, especially when things get rocky, injuries, trying to compete with the best in our league, which are as good as anybody in the country. And turn those things into positives. And it's been really fun. We went on a magical run last year. In year 2 of this 3-year probationary period we've been on, to have won 14 games and 9 games in league is unprecedented. Find me somewhere else around the country with those sanctions that have done that in 2 years, I'll eat your hat. And it's been fun. And that being said, like, we're super excited about what's to come. Like, this year, you know, we've already had a devastating injury, and I told Coach as soon as we had the injury, Coach, you got 15 minutes. You can cry, you can scream, you can curse, you can do whatever you want, but you got 15 minutes. After that 15 minutes is up, we're done.
Right,
we're
next
done.
Man up, next man up.
Next man up, so.
No, definitely next man up. You know, like you said, we're excited, you know, going to this next year. You know, we've had our summer workouts. We've, you know, been working out a little bit, you know, August, September. Like, are there any of the new guys that, you know, have been standing out or that you guys are, like, impressed with? You know, we have our freshmen, we have transfers like, you know, Cockabellis also sat out last year. Like, any of those guys, you know, added to, you know, the core that we have coming back?
Well, I think we got a good group of newcomers. I think we've improved our basketball IQ. I think collectively as a group, we got field guys. We got guys that, you know, can feel their way through the game. You know, they understand situations. They come from great programs to where you can tell they know how to play. Jeremiah Bailey is somebody that I'm excited about. 6'6", from Pima Community College. Went one year there. Really played well, can shoot the ball, can stretch the floor. And for me, it's not that he can just shoot the ball and stretch the floor. It's that I've seen him make big shots.
Right.
He makes big shots. He makes big shots. He's consistent in what he does. The true mark of somebody, to me, in terms of being a good player, a good player, you don't call his name a lot. You don't call his name a lot. He tends to be in the right spot, right position. Same thing with Ajari Sani, freshman out of Houston, and I think he just has a chance to be a really special player. I would say, and I would let Coach Perry answer this. I don't know if he's the most talented guy to come through here in the first couple years, but I would tend to say, especially on the offensive end, he's the most polished guy in terms of the consistency, and you know what you're gonna get.
Right.
He seems to have a great a balance, never too high, never too low. You can tell he's been coached hard. There's nothing that says he won't be successful here at Pacific. Jabril Price Noel, I feel like is one of those guys that comes around once in a while, almost like Jalil, where you can move him around. You can play him 1 through 4, and his feel for the game is just uncanny for his age. Coming in as a freshman, I don't think that you've seen that not on this mid-major level of ball. When we were recruiting him, I feel like we got a steal, and I feel like that right now. I think that sometimes in this business people overthink it,
right,
and they start trying to make it what it is. When that kid you put him on the floor and he can play. He just makes plays. So I'm looking forward to those guys. And one guy that we brought in that's going to play a big role is Zach Cameron. Zach is a Sacramento transplant, went to Kennesaw State, transferred to Menor area junior college. And, we're going to need big things from him, rim running,
right,
protecting the rim, being in alleys, dunking the ball. He has an opportunity to really impact our team.
Right. No.
I would, to really echo what Coach has said, I agree with everything he said. Ajari is, he's been well coached. The thing I find myself doing with him, because Coach has given me more defensive responsibility this year. Now, that being said, Coach, the first time that the opposition goes on a run with us, I don't want like 8,000 emails. I thought Leonard was in charge of the defense, so that's not what that means. But in having to do some corrections with Ajari, like if I say, Ajari, on that last play, he looks at me and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's not a lot of explanation between the coach and the player needing to go over it over and over. He gets it. He gets it quickly. So I'm super excited about that. Now, with him, he's a true freshman. He weighs about, 48 pounds soaking wet. So we got to put some stakes.
He has gotten bigger though.
We got to put some stakes in his back pocket to keep him from blowing away. But he's really ahead of the curve in terms of knowing where to be, how to play defensively. We just got to get him stronger, but really excited to be around him every day in practice. I think he makes our program better. And like Coach said, he's a complete steal.
Right.
There were people recruiting him. Coach, had ties with his family, but there were people recruiting him, and we had to hold on, and get it done to the very end. The coach was the catalyst on it. With Jabril, we all fell in love with him, recruiting him. He's got a feel for the game like Jalil.
That's scary.
And it is, because he can attack from 4 different spots on the floor, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to be a better rebounder than he is today. We're working with him on his foot speed and how to become a better defender. He's very receptive. He's a smart kid. Just a super kid to have in your program in year 3, high school player. And then Jeremiah, I agree with Coach. The millisecond I saw him at the Division II semifinals, I looked at Coach Luster and I said, that guy can help us immediately. There's no question about it. He's an everyman. He can do a little bit of everything. And Coach is right. You don't say his name often. You want to say it sometimes, and at the last second, he gets right where he's supposed to be on both ends of the floor. He's a flow guy offensively. I think he'll be able to take Coach's vision offensively and make us a better team and keep the ball moving, and you have to play him honestly.
Right.
He can shoot it, dribble it, and pass it.
Right, so that's good. So that means we have our new guys coming in to complement the core. So could fans be happy to see what is possible going into the season?
I think they can. You know, the one thing that we made a concerted effort to do is we wanted to improve shooting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one guy that we didn't mention that I think that's going to help us a lot with that is Kai Cabela's. You know, I think that he can stretch the floor. I think he has one of the fastest first steps that I've seen in a long time. Trying to get him to use all the length that he has once he beats a guy, but I'm telling you, he can shoot the ball, and you know, I think that he'll, you know, it's crazy. It's not that he's not doing his job in practice, but I think that he'll be a little bit better in the game when he's in there. But I look forward to, you know, him and Ajari, you know, Birdie, you know, I think that Jeremiah, you know, we have Lafayette. You know, you got five legitimate three-point shooters on our team. You know, Jabril can knock down threes with his feet set. Zach Cameron can shoot threes. You know, I think we got a capable team. Jalil, I think he'll be a much improved shooter. With his feet set, he wasn't that bad last year.
Right.
But I think that he'll be a much improved shooter. This summer, with all the shots that we shot and made, I think that guys are just a lot more confident in their strokes. But you know, in terms of where we're going to be, to me, it's a different team than what we had the first 2 years. But the one thing about it is hopefully we don't have the injury bug hit us. You know, and I think that's kind of depleted our team. Even if you go back to the first year, Lampkin getting hurt. You know, Lampkin getting hurt, that hurt us. Right. You know, so you can't play the same way. Now, to me, I'm finally settling in for me to where I can coach these guys the way I want to coach them, and that's on the defensive end. Mm-hmm. and like I talked about, and I've been talking about the whole summer, and as we started this fall, I'm not worried about offense. We can score the ball now. We got people that can deck it. We were the top. One of the top, if not the top, free throw shooting team in this league. Everybody in this league know we can drive downhill. So, you know, now we got penetrates, we got kicks, we got guys that can knock down shots. No,
that's good. That's all good stuff. I want to keep this conversation going, but, you know, we have celebrity chef Michael Midgley coming in.
What's up, fellas?
Coming in, you know,
here
at Midgley's Public House.
I got your favorite, man.
Yeah.
Hey!
We got some pork belly sliders.
Okay.
Hey. I got some other stuff over here, too.
Yep.
Hey, everybody, just so you know, these pork belly sliders, they're not for me.
No, man, that's my own original creation right there.
Nice.
Hey, look.
All right, check that out.
Mike, this is the only reason I'm here. This is the only way they got me here.
Check it out, man. It's like an honor and a privilege to be like around basketball royalty, you know. It's a big fan, UOP ball. That's, I think, in the last one, man. I remember watching the Running Rebels playing over at UOP.
Right.
And I wanted to play basketball since I saw Hoosiers, man. I was like that kid Granny Goose on me. Yeah, it was no good. But so check it out, man. We got the salmon and prawns, rice, asparagus, pork belly sliders. We braise that, steam it, cook it. Big process. We wrap it up, bake it, and fry it. And that's the tomahawk. I want to throw out a little challenge for you guys. Check this out. You got the season about to start.
Appreciate it.
You guys I feel like I'm part of the team. You know?
No, definitely part of the team. So let me ask you this: you know, you've been on Top Chef. You know, been on the Food Network. So, who do you think would be better? Your skills in the kitchen, or Coach STOUDAMIRE's skills on the court?
Like, if you had to draft a team of cooks, you know, I mean, I'd be like a walk-on, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not,
You think so?
I didn't win the James Beard Award, you know, or anything
think
like that.
so?
He's Rookie of the Year, man, first-round pick. I mean,
Top Chef isn't no
I mean,
slouch
hey, white
either.
man can't jump. I can't even shoot free throws. You know?
Hey, you can cook some salmon.
Cook some salmon, but hey, it's like that movie Ratatouille. Anybody can cook. So, no, man. I'm sure you guys can cook.
Hey, you got your own restaurant, Top Chef. Like you're doing big
but
things.
man, I don't know how I did it.
Let me ask you this,
Yeah.
Mike. What's the secret in you know, to staying in this business long term? I mean, you know, you see a lot of businesses come and go, you know, but every time I tend to float around here, I mean, it's crowded, it's packed, you know, and I think you got a loyal following. I mean, how did you get to that point?
I think, well, you know, I grew up in this community, in this town. Both my parents were self-employed, and my dad always told me, hey, work for yourself because working for other people sucks. And, but he said, hey, and when you do work for yourself, you got to give back to your community because you got to support your community, and then your community will support you. So when you guys are out, you see Midgleys everywhere at events, charities.
Right.
We donate to everything we can. I mean, I give stuff that I don't take as much as I give, and I just think I get opportunities. Mike Jacobs helps me out with UOP. You know, just being able to help out, you know, your teams from other sports too, doing like affordable catering for the UOP, and just trying to just support my community, man. And I think we kind of create like a cheers vibe here, where you know you come in, everybody knows your name. You know, you're famous, like Coach over here. Everyone gives him that respect. And it's low key, and I mean they definitely know when he's in the building, but. Hey, just like, let him be a salmon, man. Hey, he'll talk hoops and basketball with you in sports all day, but, you know, I just think that's what it is, man. We're in Lincoln Center, and Lincoln Center just does a great job managing this center. I think it's just a safe, nice place to eat. And, you know, and I just say it's all about community. That's my success.
Right.
See, I cook good food, don't overthink it, and
this food's amazing.
just try and give back, man.
We've incorporated you guys into what we're doing as well, because we always bring recruits here and their families and get a great meal and great atmosphere. You know, it's a big part of what we're doing as well.
Yeah, we appreciate it so much, and it's really exciting because some of these guys, they come in with their families even after that. I mean, we just, they wouldn't even known about this place if it wasn't for the relationship we created. Yeah. And, you know, man, just hope they remember me when they go big time.
Hey, no, you do a great job. And that's the one thing I always is longevity. So however you do it, keep doing it, man, and congratulations.
Well, hey, you guys do the same, man. This is year 3 for you, man. These are all your recruits now, and the whole team's yours. You know, yeah, I'm pulling for you guys, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I've been a big fan of UOP basketball my whole life. I mean, I used to go to football games, you know. It was rough when that ended, but I mean, my kids will be out there for sure.
Oh, we appreciate it. No, we appreciate all the support.
Right on,
Thank you
well,
very
hey.
much.
Thanks for having us,
guys
man.
enjoy the food.
Thank you.
Delicious.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Delicious.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Yes,
Thanks.
sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Mike.
right,
Yep.
man. Enjoy the food, guys.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
So LP, we've had extensive conversations, you know, off camera about, you know, what this staff and this program is doing with everyone that we have. Like, we probably count on one hand coaches and support staff who we have involved. Like, you know, you want to explain that, you know, talk about that some more?
It's everyone, you know, that's new to Division I athletics and men's basketball, you're learning from the ground up. So it's ground zero for you guys. I've been there before. I played at a smaller Division I school in the University of Idaho, so I'm used to seeing everyone wear 8 different hats. And you guys are getting a taste of it firsthand. Coaches come from some pretty big programs.
Right.
So,
he had the luxury of having like 20 people on staff.
This is a little, this is a little new for Coach as well, but I'm used to it. It's fun. I think it's great. It reminds me of my first year in the NBA when Chuck Person, we were divvying up the scouts, and rather than taking only teams in your division.
Right.
Say one coach takes 5 teams. His thought was do every 1 or 2 scouts. That way you learn the entire league.
Right.
And I'm really grateful to him for that, because I learned the NBA from the ground up, because you had to prepare for every single team. And this is great for all you guys, because the guys that are successful at the Stephen F. Austins, even though their budget now is triple what it was when they really turned it around with Danny Casper, but those are smaller Division I schools where you've got to count every single dollar. You've got to wear 18 different hats, and now you know. As you move forward with your career, and you get ready to make decisions on where you're going to go at the next place, now it's not going to matter what level it is. And you don't have to say, well, if it's not a Power 5, I don't want to do it, because there's so much work involved. You're used to it. So now if it's incarnate word, that's not going to frighten you. You know everything's got to be done from A to Z. I think it's great. It refreshes me. I'm just like everyone else. I've been in programs where you've had to do everything, and I've been in programs where everything was done for you. So it's good. It's really good. It's good for me to refresh myself, going over scheduling, having to communicate with coach over everything A to Z in the program, even the smallest things. I gotta run that by coach, because that small thing can turn into something really big. Every dollar is accounted for in our program, and moving forward, we don't take anything for granted. So I'm much more appreciative of the things that just came your way with big budgets and bigger programs. So now when you get the smaller things, you're much more appreciative. And I think it's been good. I think it's been really good. It's a microcosm of life in that when you're doing well financially, you can overlook some smaller things and take advantage of that and spend money that you probably don't need to spend. And then when times get leaner in your life, you'll know, like, look, let's not take these movies for granted. Like this week, we're not going to be able to go to 2 or 3 movies. We can go to 1 movie. So let's really pick the movie that we really want to go to, because that's all we can afford. And it doesn't mean that you can't have fun. Coach and I probably laugh more now than he's laughed in the NBA, at Arizona, at Memphis, at Rice combined. And there are things that we just simply can't do financially. And we talk about it and we laugh about it. And then we think about all the things that are great about Pacific, about Stockton, that we really love, that we take advantage of. And we enjoy those things.
Oh yeah, you know, you just explaining all that to people, I feel like they don't see that it's just more than just basketball that, you know, everyone on staff does. You know, myself being new in the game, I've learned from both of you guys tremendously. You know, every single day you guys are putting something new on my plate. And coach, like, from year 1 going into year 3, you said it before, like, it's more than just basketball, and like you just, you know, you're trying to figure it out year 1, year 2, but now, like, how do you feel you've developed or grown as a head coach going into year 3?
You know, I think you can always get better as head coach. You know, there's I don't think that there's nobody that can cap out in terms of their growth. But with that being said, I would say my feet are firmly on the ground and the directive that I know I want to go. You know, whether it's on the floor, whether it's off the floor. The one thing about it is I'm a feel guy, and I've always felt like I've had a great feel. So I study personalities, I study body language. Those are the things that have helped me through life. That's just what's helped me through life. So, you know, just even you two, like, I know when coach is happy. I know when coach is mad. You know, I know when something might be on his brain and he just hasn't said it. You know, Justin, you're so young. This is funny because you're so young, man. You're like you're like my oldest son, because what you do is you'll walk by You'll walk by my office.
Yep.
Then you'll walk back by my office.
Yep. I gotta see the look in your face.
And then you'll come back in and be like, "Hey, coach, man,
Yep.
can I holler at you?"
Exactly. I gotta see. I gotta see.
After he's
After
come
I go
to
to
my
Yelp.
office and found out if there's any way he doesn't have to tell you.
Exactly. Hey, Phil, gotta look it out. All
You
that
got to
stuff.
see coach.
And you know, it's no different than with the guys. And you know what I try to do with our guys, and I tried to do it starting this summer. I said I'm gonna take my NBA experience and I'm really gonna dive into what it was that made my good teams good in the NBA, and I'm gonna try to bring it to college. And the first thing I did was I told our coaching staff, man, my hands is off this summer. When the season was over, we took time off. When we came back in the gym, I did a lot of things to just start it off, and then I phased myself out. Why? Kids are no different today than when I was playing. They don't want to hear the head coach. The voice is draining. It's draining. So I have everybody saying, well, you don't want to work out with that. That's not what I said. What I said is that there are times when my voice is draining.
Right.
They just heard it all season. It's time to hear somebody else. You know, when I was an assistant coach, I was great at nurturing. I was great at mentoring. Not that you don't do those things as a head coach, but the relationship does go a little different.
Correct.
You don't want to go tell Coach STOUDAMIRE the same things as a head coach as you would have told him as an assistant coach, and I understand that. So although I got an open door policy, and I tell the guys that, I totally get it. So I wanted to take my hands off and let guys be and do the things that they were going to do. I knew they were getting the work in. I trust my staff. That's why I did it. We got guys that know what they're doing out there. And I think that this is going to help us moving forward, because what I see when I walk into the gym now is I see some pop.
Right,
I see
right.
pop. I do. I think the first 2 years when I was here, I felt like I wore on the guys. The first year we went overseas, so we was together too long. Okay, now not only did you go overseas, you're trying to get guys that was recruited by the former coaching staff. Now you're trying to get them to buy in, and that's always a little tricky on the initial.
Right.
Okay, the second season, you're trying to implement a whole bunch of guys. We had guys sitting out. We had a bunch of new guys we brought in. So it became long and draining, taxing, 2-hour practice, 2:15, and after a while, you know, you're out there because the protocol says this is what a coach is supposed to do.
Right.
But really and truly, the attention span of our guys were already gone.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to take hands off. And, you know, I think about the best teams I played on in the NBA, the teams I played in Portland, a team I played on in Memphis, San Antonio. The teams that were good, the coach had a pulse of who his team was. He knew how to push every single button, and it wasn't just about getting them to play good basketball. It was about it was about knowing when and when not to. And I think that's the one thing that I've learned.
Right. No, for sure. That hands-off approach is more so an NBA tactic compared to a college tactic. So, like, you know, you've both been in the NBA, so, like, that NBA experience, you've played and coached, you coached in the NBA, so, like, how do you instill that within the college program, you know, within these players? You know, is it anything on the court, off the court, you know, things of that nature?
Well, I'd like to touch on a couple of points Coach made. Like when he says hands off,
Right.
it doesn't mean like
Completely, he's all the way away. Yeah.
No, we are in constant communication.
Correct.
And then to add on to his growth over the 3 years, and watching him and being here with him, I think this. I think they're the 3 greatest words in the English dictionary are dad, coach, and brother. Those are 3 greatest words. It's not game 7.
Right.
I disagree with Brad Stevens.
Right.
It's not game 7. It's dad, coach, and brother.
Very powerful words.
I say that because coach is a dad. I get to watch him as a dad. Obviously, coach is a coach. And then being with him every day for 2 years, we have become brothers. And the relationship is ever evolving. Sometimes he needs me as a brother. Sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes he needs me as a coach. And we're constantly evolving, meaning, and I mean it this way, we're constantly getting better with that relationship. It's human nature when you get your program, and people think, oh, well, coach has been an assistant coach for 5-6 years. Well, he's been wanting to be a head coach, and he's been groomed to be a head coach for 20.
Right.
You know, that's just who he is. He's been leading a team or teams for over 20 years. So, yeah, this is his natural position. That being said, he respects our relationship. He uses me in different ways. Sometimes he needs me to have conversations with him that are uncomfortable. I'm the person that he's going to pick up the phone at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. He knows I'm up, and we'll have some tough conversations. They'll be tough. I say some things that, you know, he probably doesn't want to hear. But he probably appreciates those conversations more than the ones where I'm patting him on the back. So, oh, coach, great call, great job, great recognition, great decision. It's the ones that are uncomfortable where I feel like he grows the most, in my opinion, as it pertains to that.
That is definitely amazing. You know, I've seen growth firsthand. You know, but I'm more so behind the bench, looking. I'm the fly on the wall that's looking at, you know, how you run as a coach, how you two work together, how Coach Lester and Coach Wicks all bring everything together, and it's like the synergy and chemistry amongst the coaching staff from year 1 to year 2, now to year 3. You see the same thing on the floor from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. And that just, you know, that relates, that ties into our players. And you can see, you know, you see a Jalil not only, you know, bonding with Roberto, but now he's bonding with Kai, he's bonding with Jabril, he's bonding with Jeremiah. He's bringing in the new guys. And the new guys are bringing in, you know, the walk-ons we have and also, you know, our core guys. And this summer, you know, I've seen guys grow fast as a team, and that's really, really impressive. Really, really impressive.
As it pertains to the NBA, coach is going to have a different perspective.
Right.
His will be far more exciting than mine. I started at the bottom in the NBA and kind of worked my way up from the bench to the front office. And, you know, I've had athletic directors being a former head coach, and I've met with presidents and done a lot of neat things, but I can tell you this, there's no more intimidating thing in this business, in the world, than sitting in front of Larry Bird telling him who you think we should sign as a free agent.
Right.
And that's your job. So if I could get through that, you know, I think I'm okay moving forward. But the NBA is such a different animal, and coach, having been a player, is different because I've had to be in locker rooms and be around tough conversations and try to win games with players in the NBA from all different facets, rookie, veteran, into career, and they're all different. And coach's stories about him and towards the end of his career are some of the funniest stories in the world. I make him tell me those stories every day. Like, coach, when did you know it was the end?
Right.
you know, college and pros, they don't honestly, they don't parallel. They don't parallel. Like you know, and I'm talking about, you know, the high major player too. Like they think they know what it is up there, but you don't know what it is.
Right.
You know, you don't have a clue of how hard it is to play in the NBA, and you don't have a clue of how hard you got to work to stay in the NBA. It's a little disappointing. It's a little disappointing sometimes when you go and you watch a prospect, and then, you know, sometimes in the back of your mind, you know who the prospect really is, but then they think that they're a pro.
Right.
So I'll take that back to even when I was at Arizona and Memphis, and I was like, you have no clue, you know, what it takes. You know, you have no clue what it takes, like you think you do, and you think you're working hard, but you're not working hard enough. And some things translate, but I think that when you look at our level of basketball, the WCC, you know, it's extremely hard, number one, to go to the pros. But if you think about our league, with Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and BYU being the three teams that have finished at the top pretty much for the last decade or whatnot. Gonzaga had arguably, I don't know if he was, I can't remember if Nigel Williams-Goss was the college player of the year, but I know he was first team All-American.
Right, right.
And he's not in the NBA.
Right.
You know, that's not a knock on Nigel. It's hard to play in the NBA.
Right.
So when we go out there and recruit, it's amazing. You know, as a recruiting, you know, we all talk about the NBA. We all got our little pitches and our spills, and kids will say, well, can I make it to the NBA from Pacific? I said, well, the schools you got on your list right now, nobody made it to the NBA from there either. So at the end of the day, like, me and my staff, we're just like nobody else. We need a first, and we all got to get lucky.
Right.
You got to get lucky. You know, you got to get lucky. I can name 10, 11 guys that were on this level that have been NBA players, first rounders or whatnot. But the parallel to the NBA, this is what I will say. I think that, and I'm not ashamed to say this, and I've said this to anybody that would listen, the best college player I coached was Will Barton, and it wasn't close.
He was a monster.
And the reason Will Barton was the best college player I coached is because he never deviated from the plan of being a pro. Whether it was going right or wrong for Will, okay, he never stopped competing. He always played hard, and he was always seeking to get better. Before practice and after practice, I seen the man make like 200 makes. It didn't matter. He came back late at night and he kept that. He kept that with him. He kept that with him all the way through. And I say that to say this. On our level, when I say our level, I'm talking about, you know, the mid-major level. I think that there are guys that, if the talent is there, the work ethic is there, and I think that's why you get the Damian Lillards of the world. You know, that's why you get the CJ McCollums of the world.
Right.
That's how you get the kid from Boise State, Hutchinson.
Yep.
You know, because what happens is that, you know, these scouts are going and they're scouring everywhere, and they're trying to find hidden gems. They're trying to find that one guy. You know, you can see that, and I try to tell I tell guys this all the time, and this is one of my favorite stories. I remember, you know, when I was at Memphis, we played Michigan, and you know, it was my scout, and we lost the game, and we had pretty good guards, and you know, I was disappointed that we lost. Felt we were a better team. And so I was like, man, this little guard, didn't nobody even know his name, you know, and he came out here and we gave him a career night. I said, because I always say, you guys hear me say it, there's always a defining moment. You have a defining moment as a player, you have a defining moment as a coach or whatever it might be where, you know, I'm there.
Right.
I'm there, I ride. And I was like, this is that kid's defining moment. And I listened to him in interviews, and I read the article in the paper the next day, and he talked about how our guards at Memphis used to torment him in AAU. That guy turned out to be Trey Burke. It was Trey Burke as a freshman. Yeah. It was Trey Burke as a freshman at Michigan. And, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. If you work hard, okay, you can make it. But that's where that's where the parallel starts. You try to find, when I look at a guy, it's like, how does he work? Is he coachable? Right. You know, and when you get to the pros, man, that's where it gets tricky. Right. I can tell you 100 stories of where I've seen it get tricky for guys. You know, but I make Coach laugh, and I look, I'm not ashamed to say, you know, it's you talk about retirement. That's the worst word in professional sports. There is no such thing as retirement. They either keep you or they don't. So that means you can play or you can't play. Right. It's no in between. So at the end of my career, I mean, it's just like, man, them young dudes start going, pew, 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 pew. And that used to be me.
Right.
That used to be me.
Right.
And I was like, man, I can't stay in front of these dudes.
Like, man, it's
I
time
can't stay in front of these dudes. And then I'm trying to break people down, ball dribbling off my foot. I can't move. You know, and those are the realities.
Right.
See, what dudes always like to say is, no, man. They didn't sign you. Nobody signed you. That's why you quit. That's why you quit. That's why you quit.
It's over. Yeah.
You know.
Tap on the shoulder.
Yeah, it's over. It's over. I have seen, and it's happened to everybody.
Right.
It's happened to everybody.
Right.
It's happened to everybody. So my debate, look, because Coach Luster not here, and so we always debate. You know, Coach was talking about Dirk Nowitzki the other day. He said, man, Dirk can't guard nobody. I said, well, Coach, he's still getting 15 a game in year 21.
Yeah.
I said, he's playing because none of them youngsters can beat him out. I said, because if they could beat him out, he wouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
So he's good.
Right.
And they're in a space right now where obviously they don't feel like nobody's better than him. And I get it, Dirk is Dirk. But man, he would bow down if there was somebody to bow down to.
Right.
You know, but trust me, the moment that person comes along, because they already going pew. They already doing that. He can't guard them right now. But what they can't do is that jumper still sweet.
Right.
Somebody got to embarrass him in training camp.
Yes.
And then that's when he knows it's over. But right now it's not over.
Right.
It's not over.
Yeah.
So.
Man, no, those are all good stories. I know there's more you want to tell, but we got to leave that off camera. But we've been in games, and I've sat behind the bench, and I've heard you call out plays 3, 4, 5, 6 plays before it happened. Do you attribute that to playing or coaching?
I attribute that to playing.
Okay.
You know, I think it's a lot of instincts. It's a lot of instincts, and you know, you can't see these guys. The one thing that our guys, you know, we got to get better at, I think, as a team is attention to detail. You know, I think that we're getting there. We're not bad, but we just can be better.
Right.
And you can see things happening before they start to happen. Why? Because I played. So one turnover, you can see it starting to turn into 2.
Right.
Then the 3, then the
Right.
4, whatnot. You know, if a guy's struggling shooting the ball and you know he's a big part of their team and he hit that one shot, it's like, come on, man.
Right.
Like, you know, and I think for me it's just reading the game. You know, you read the game, you see how it goes, and it's a feel. I think that coaching is every bit of as much as the same as playing.
Right.
It's all a feel. And I think that if you look at the most successful coaches, at least the ones that I've seen, you know, they got a great feel for the game. It's like they always make the right call.
Right.
They always pluck the right person off the bench. They always, you know, it's the right play at the right time, or, you know, they know what button to push.
Right.
And, you know, that's even with the motivational tactics in terms of players. I always say this, and everybody's different, but Coach Olsen, who never cursed 4 years of practice, never cursed. I never heard the man curse, but he was so great with his tactics to get you to play better, to get you to play hard.
Right.
You know, and those are the things that I try to do to our guys, along with being honest. I think honesty is always the best policy. I really do. So.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. Like, I know we have to wrap it up soon, and we have official practice starting up soon. So that means official practice, games are probably less than 45 days away. And I want to ask you both a couple questions, and just give me, you know, 1 or 2 words to answer those questions. Okay? 1 or 2 words. So going into official practice, how do you feel about our team?
In 1 or 2 words?
1 or 2 words.
Excited.
Coach?
He took my word. I was gonna say I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm
okay.
excited.
Okay.
I am excited.
Okay, I can go with that. All right. What do you think is going to be the main calling of this team for this year? What do you think we need to hang our hat on?
Stops.
Okay.
I like that. I'm gonna go with that too.
Okay.
Stops.
Stops.
We need
Defense.
stops.
Defense is big.
Defense.
Defense is really big. Okay. Our freshmen. One word about our freshmen.
One word. Impactful.
IQ.
Those are two big words, right? Really, really big words with a lot deeper meaning. You have two all-conference guys coming back. Targets on their back. 2 words on what do you think their season might be like.
In 2 words.
2 words.
You might have to give us a sentence for that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you 5 words. Go 5 words.
5 words. Well, their supporting cast has to play well.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to say patience. Patience, because they're targets now.
Yep. It's a different game.
Definitely.
They're on the top of the scouting report.
Right. Right. Definitely so. Set up unknowns.
And I think their supporting cast, they have to be consistent,
Right.
and we have to be able to count on them. So that will space the floor for those 2 guys to do what they do.
Right. 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 5 ESPN games. How do you feel about that?
Well, it would have been a little better if it wasn't against Gonzaga twice, St. Mary's twice, and I think BYU once. But you know what? I'm excited about it. You know what I'm really excited about? And I don't want to put a lot of emphasis on our team because I try to tell people this all the time, and I said it a lot last year privately when everybody thought the St. Mary's was going to win the league. I was like, until somebody beats top dog, you can't just give somebody else the league because that's what you think it's supposed to be.
Right.
About our team, I feel like we're going in the right direction, and it's great that we got acknowledged in terms of, if you look at the ESPN games, I think after the top 3 teams, I think we got the next most games. So that means that people think that we're up and coming squad, but at the same time too. The big question and the big thing that I wrestle with every night is, how do we get our team to not read press clippings early on, and how do we get them to mature and evolve as a team? Because in order to have consistency each and every night, you got to be mature and you got to evolve every single day. The highs and the lows of this can be crazy, and you want to be somewhere in the middle, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. As the head coach, and as I talk to the rest of you guys about what I think, you know, it's the whole mental part of the game, and that's going to win us a lot more games than I think our physical will, because physically I think we're one of the most talented teams in this league. But last year we lost 5 games by 6 points or less. So that's a 2-possession game we played. I can tell you for a fact we played 3 games down the stretch, 3-4 games down the stretch that came down to 2 possessions.
Right. Right.
You know, so that for me is in a nutshell are those ESPN games, because that's, if we're in them, which I think we will be, that's what's going to come down to at the end of the day, and those teams know how to win.
Right. Right.
You know, I agree with Coach. You know, I also believe that if our guys if we ever feel as a staff that they are reading those press clippings. We've got 18 films from last year.
Yes.
With a lot of learning tools on them.
Yes.
That we can pull out and remind them exactly what went wrong and when it went wrong.
Right.
So there's no room for for complacency. So.
Right. No, definitely so. Last and final question for you both. Coach STOUDAMIRE, 5 words or less describe Coach Perry.
5 words or less.
He can do that in 1.
In 5 words or less to describe Coach Perry. You know, this is. Somebody asked me about a person, and you know, what value does this guy bring to you? And you know, my answer would be loyalty to a fault. You know, I wouldn't rather with Coach Perry. I wouldn't want to go in the foxhole with no other guy. Like his loyalty never wavers.
Right.
You know, his honesty never wavers. You know, he doesn't pull any punches with me. That's why I know he's loyal to me. You know, and I just don't think you get a lot of that in this business.
Right.
You know, you always got people that's opportunists. You know, and that's like the perception on the outside that nobody really understands about this business. Our business is a treacherous business. It's a business of guys trying to, you know, build their own selves up. You know, in the process of tearing somebody else down if possible. You know, and you know, Coach Perry, he's loyal to a fault, and I appreciate him for that. I tell him that he's loyal to a fault, and you know, I would say that about every guy on this staff. You know, because we don't got much, we just got each other.
Right. Coach Perry?
Well, there's no way I could do it in 5 words, but I would say that Coach STOUDAMIRE is one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. He has a heart of gold to a fault. He does so many different things for so many different people and never talks about it. If I ever needed anything, I know I can make one phone call and it would be done with no questions asked.
Right.
He cares about not only the players, but his family, on both sides of his family.
Right.
He takes care of a tremendous amount of people financially, and asks nothing in return. And sometimes I jump on him and tell him, like, you can't save the world.
Right.
Like, you can't do it.
Right.
You can't do it. But in his heart, he really does try to save everyone that comes in contact with him. And he's got a heart of gold. And I can't, there's no way you could describe him in 5 words of who he really is. Like, he's a good man. Sometimes you don't want people to know it, even when he's trying to be rough and gruff.
Right.
He's such a good person. You know, outside of being an outstanding basketball mind and basketball person, basketball coach, he's a million times the man.
Right.
And you know, you just don't have enough words to put in perspective who he really is behind DAMON, STOUDAMIRE, Mighty Mouse, the NBA player. You know, it's so much more than that.
Right. I would love to keep this conversation going, but because I know we could be here for hours just talking. But I just want to thank you guys both for you know, joining us on this episode of, you know, Tigers Roundtable. So
Good
thank
shit,
you.
brother.
Thank you.
Go Tigers.
Yes, sir. Go Tigers.